McCoy, and I welcome you to make $100,000 within the next 365 days. Also, get that sexy back, get that body back in shape. Also, get that dream job you've always wanted. Now, this particular podcast is going to show you exactly how I'm doing it, how I've done it before, and how I'll do it again. I'm starting straight from scratch, 365 days. Let's get it. Hello, once again, we're here with podcast number 2. This particular subject is going to deal with how to keep yourself motivated. And we brought back Lisa Butler. Last time we talked to her and asked her a lot of questions about utilizing her knowledge with education. She's a 4th grade teacher, elementary school teacher, but she also used to do a lot of counseling. She has a degree in social work and things like that she'll be able to go a little bit deeper in. But the reason why I brought her back, because for me, myself, I'm not trying to be a 4th grade teacher, but I am in motivation. I want people to be motivated. And this particular podcast series that I'm doing is for me as well as for others. How can me, myself, and other people motivate ourselves to make real change? I, like many people, jump on YouTube, go to podcasts, jump in on webinars, and it is with the intent of making a lifestyle change to better my income, to better my health, and to better my relationships, and to better my own influence over others. So, Lisa Butler, what can you tell us today about, well, first, let's give us a history on your motivation part of your businesses that you've had.
Well, number one, as a teacher, motivation really does play a big part because burnout is rampant. You know, it's very hard work. And as I said before, you are constantly on all the time. And not only that, it doesn't stop. It's not a 9-to-5 job. When you walk away from your cubicle or your desk or your office, you know, in other careers, sometimes, well, a lot of times, you're just kind of done for the day. But with teaching, it's not that way. You're constantly planning, because when you're in the classroom teaching, you don't have time to plan and teach. I mean, there are times like if the children are in PE or if the children are at lunch, but then you're trying to just take a moment to breathe and decompress, or you're running around making copies, or you may have a meeting, a level planning meeting or something like that. But you really don't have time to, because it takes hours of planning outside of that. And so sometimes you do get burnt out. A lot of times teachers get burnt out. And there's actually a study, and I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly where I found this, but we talk about it all the time in our professional developments at school, that a lot of times teachers, new teachers that is, they burn out before 5 years. It's kind of like marriages sometimes. You're burnt out before that first 5 years. And it's very, very, it can be hard. You know, it can be very disconcerting at times, as rewarding as it is. So remaining motivated is absolutely essential, as well as motivating your students. So it's both ways. You constantly have to search and find for new ways for you to remain motivated so that you can continue to motivate your students.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And what about even for adults? A lot of the people I deal with is find it very difficult to motivate themselves to change their eating. They want to lose weight, but they get frustrated. Like if we come up with a diet plan, and that's why I do a lot of research on neuroplasticity, because I want people to know that you can always make a change. It doesn't matter if you grew up eating a certain way. You know, so what things have you found to help people that are stuck in a certain rut, stuck in a certain habitual way of life, to get them to change and shift to something different?
Well, here's the thing about changing, shifting, and motivation. The thing is, it does have to start with an earnest desire, because it's not something that somebody else can make you do. This is not, slavery as we know it. There's not an overseer with a whip saying, do this, do that. Now the motivation has to be much more intrinsic, because if, let's face it, exercising, it is hard work. You got to get up and you get on the treadmill for an hour or however long, or you're walking or you're lifting weights. That requires energy and effort. Changing the way you eat, man, it's easier to eat bad stuff. It's all around you. I take a good cheeseburger, man, whether it's made of cows or turkeys or whatever. It's good. It tastes good. French fries taste good. Pizza, peach cobbler, greens, macaroni and cheese. That stuff tastes good.
That's true.
So when faced with that, or a wheatgrass shake, or a smoothie, or raw vegetables, let's look at it. And again, it's a pathway of least resistance.
Exactly.
We know that things can change, that you can adjust yourself, neuroplasticity, to a new way of doing things. It does not happen once, twice. It has to be a habit. It has to be something that becomes a part of your routine and eventually a part of who you are. But it is difficult to kind of make that shift. And so the motivation has to be intrinsic, and you have to find out why are you doing it. So you have to set a goal. For instance, when I want to lose weight, or if I want to get to a certain weight or lose inches or whatever have you, what I always do is go to the store and buy an outfit. It might be pants and a shirt or a dress, but I buy what I call a destination outfit. Okay. And I hang it on the closet, and every day when I wake up, I see the destination outfit. Okay. And I go, I gotta get into that. And then I set a date.
Okay.
I want to get into that outfit by, I don't know, September 21st, let's say. Because there may be a concert or something going on at church that I want to attend, and I want to look nice in that dress, or vacation or what have you. So there it is. You have something concrete. And then the next thing that you need to do is hold yourself accountable. Now, you can do that with just yourself, or you can grab an accountability partner, someone who's going to help you stay on track. And then you may want to create a schedule. All right, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to do 30 minutes on the treadmill. Here's going to be my diet. I'm going to check in with my accountability partner at this time. I'm going to drink this much water. So you just kind of set everything up so that it's not haphazard. It's very intentional. And so what happens also with motivation is, as you see the shift taking place and it becomes concrete and it becomes tangible, you find that your motivation increases as you begin to see results.
Right. And I like to jump back on what you said about the pathway of least resistance. One of the biggest problems has to do with how we naturally are hardwired. We don't want to feel any pain. So, but we have to remember that most things that are worth getting or achieving, there's going to be some pain involved. Yes. And the reason why we have pain with those particular subjects is to keep on one way, it can weed out the weak. Let us keep it for real.
Yes.
The stronger you are, that means you've gone through something.
Oh my gosh.
And we can, even if we don't believe in natural selection and evolution, one thing we do understand, that the smartest people in the class are usually the most well read.
Yes.
The more you read, the smarter you're going to be. Why is that? Because when you read something, you're taking in the ideas of someone. So if you only read one book and someone else has read the book you read plus 100 more books, I don't care how old that person is, they're going to be smarter than you.
Well, and if it's okay, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Another thing that I have to add into that, because is not, in my estimation, in my experience, it's not enough just to read, but you have to have wisdom when you read. It's just like, what religious people say about the Bible or the Quran or whatever. It's not just enough to be able to read it and take in the information. You have to have wisdom and application. Oh, yeah. If you take it in and there is no application, or you don't have wisdom in terms of how to apply it, when to apply it, where to apply it, and those sorts of things, then it really is not going to be as beneficial. You won't have the maximum effectiveness. So I just wanted to add that as well. Yeah. So
it's just like, though, for a person that lifts weights, and even if they're not lifting weights in a gym, if they're lifting weight by just doing hard work. You're lifting buckets of water. You're digging into the dirt, digging holes all day. You're chopping down trees. And someone who doesn't do that, they're not going to be as strong as you.
Right.
Now, of course, so I see that in terms of being smart. Now, wisdom is what to do after you chop down those trees. Or you might find out a better way to do it so you don't have to extend so much of your muscle usage. So that person that reads that one book, and even I'm not even going to application yet. It's just getting to read.
Yeah.
So a person that reads 100 books compared to that person who only reads one is usually going to be smarter. But I see what you're saying. The wisdom, you might find a person who can't read. They might be illiterate, but they can just see what to do. But even when you look at that person, there's something that they're doing that other people just don't do. It's still the application. It's still a force going in a certain direction. Also, having a baby is painful.
Oh, I didn't know I had 3.
If whoever created us made it easy, you know how many people would be, you know how many babies people would just pop out and just leave on the ground?
That's true.
If it came as much as doing the bowel movement, you know what I'm saying? People would do it all the time.
You're right.
But the pain of knowing that I'm going to go through a lot of pain, the pain of knowing that the gestation period is 9 months and not 5 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Something, whoever designed it in a way to where it's going to make you think about it. Also, some people feel a physical pain changing their eating.
Yes.
When I look at that chocolate cake, now when I'm starting this podcast at a point in my life, I'm 42 years young, but I'm after athletic. You know, this is after athletic. This is AA. I'm after athlete. I got a gut now. I don't drink beer. I don't smoke cigarettes, but the way my body looks different than when I was playing basketball at St. Louis University. I was a walk-on. My career didn't last that long, but the way my body looks a whole lot better now. I didn't mind taking my shirt off back then. Now I got the man boob thing going on. I got the saggy gut. I'm looking at the stretch marks, you know what I'm saying, the cellulite on my legs. And I'm making this podcast also for me. And this is something that I've gotten from, I listen to a lot of other podcasts of people who've been doing this a lot longer. I have a little experience in broadcasting, but it was the time to just do this right now. You know what I'm saying? It has to be done. And I'm doing it for me. So when I'm telling people how to change, this also is helping me. And also, I heard a lot of people around me in different professional settings that want to lose weight, they want to start a business, but they just don't know how to take that first step. So we're talking about motivation for one big reason. It's to help me and people like me who feel like we're intelligent, but we feel like, why do we keep stopping? And I know for me, accountability, you brought up accountability, that helps me. By doing a podcast and taking video of myself showing how my body looks now, it lets me know that there are people watching me. There are people who wants to learn. They want to take that first step too, to put that soda down. You know, I love the taste of soda. I like the burning sensation I get from it. And it's very, very dangerous to the body. It's very detrimental to your health. But it's easy for me to go back to juicing, to go back to a vegetarian, a vegan lifestyle, to even if I'm going to do half raw, half cooked food, little meats every now and then, organic meats. It's easier for me for the accountability part when I put myself out there again as a motivator. Do you feel like that helps you also in what you're doing?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I really just feel that having someone to whom and with whom you will be accountable is very helpful, because we are naturally communal creatures. And it's, when you're doing something by yourself and you're reporting to yourself, no, you probably won't care if you miss that workout.
That's true.
Or 2 or 5. You probably won't care if you get that Mountain Dew and not juice this time, because who's gonna know?
Right. Exactly.
And so when there's someone to whom you're gonna say, well, I know, okay, I did have just one. They're gonna look at you like you crazy, or come on now, or what? That's too bad. Now we have to walk 2 miles around the track.
Exactly.
Then yes, it's gonna be different. And then that's just how we're hardwired as adults. Naturally, some of us have learned to be more isolated. But that's really not how human beings are. That's not how we're naturally hardwired. So I believe that a key factor is becoming involved, even if it's just one other person, or if you work out in a group, if you can afford training, like group training, so that people can feed off one another, so that you can share in the successes with other people and build one another up. So I think that's a very key important part of motivation, is to share in the experiences with others who have your same goals in mind.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's give us some examples of things that you've done yourself to help motivate yourself to do anything.
Okay. Well, for instance, I can kind of go with an individual motivational piece. I remember I went out of the country. I went to Puerto Rico about 3 years ago. And with that, I knew that I did not want to take this trip kind of with some things looking the way that they were, if you will.
Things like what?
Like my legs and my behind and my arms, those types of things. Yes. Financially, we were fine, but physically, we were just not, we just not where I wanted to be. And so that was my motivation. I had a particular dress that I wanted to wear while I was there, and that was my motivation.
Okay.
And just kind of taking the trip. Now, as far as business things are concerned, kind of surrounding myself with other people who share the same vision or the same dream. I wanted to start a small business before a clothing store, and I hooked up with somebody who kind of had the same vision. It wasn't the exact same vision of a store, but it was still entrepreneurship. Even now, there are people around me who are going toward that goal. They're making moves. They're taking steps toward that. So now we're at a common ground, and we can have a certain conversation. We can uplift one another. We can hold one another accountable. What have you done today to move toward that goal? And that's very important, is making sure that there is constant progress. And it doesn't have to be that today you want to start a real estate business and tomorrow you buy 5 houses. It may be something as simple as every day you make a phone call to try to find out how much something is. Or next week you make an appointment to go and meet with your financial planner to see how much you have to work with. Or it could be, tomorrow you're going to pull your credit to see where you are. Little things like that. Every day you should do something that is moving you toward that goal, because otherwise it's just a dream.
Exactly.
It's just a dream. It's just something that you think about every day that you really are not making any moves toward making materialize or becoming tangible.
Yeah, and
that's demotivating.
That's right. And that brings us to talking a little bit about the subconscious.
And that's what you have to defeat.
Exactly. The subconscious is the biggest part of your motivation.
Yes.
When you do not get that under control, you're going to keep saying with the conscious part of your will that you're going to lose some weight. You're going to be a better father. You're going to be a better husband. You're going to be that better mama. I'm going to do better to cook for the children. I'm going to do better to take care of my husband's needs, or whatever the case may be. I'm going to rub his back or whatever. I'm going to call mom more often. Whatever it is. I'm going to get to work on time, 30 minutes early. and I'm going to stay 30 minutes late to get my projects done. Don't let it. I'm going to keep my desk clean at work. Whatever that is. One thing that I did learn, one of the biggest, I guess the best way I've seen it illustrated was from a lecturer by the name of Ron Neframan, the author of what is it? The Neteru, the
Book of
it's the it just went out of my mind for a second. But the Metu Neter, that's what it was. Metu Neter, volumes 1 and 2. But he talked about thinking of the ocean and the iceberg. The part that's above the water is your consciousness. But up underneath it, and that's what the word subconscious means, is the part that's under the consciousness. It is a lot greater. And that part has more at stake when telling you exactly what you're going to do. So your conscious part, you might say, I'm not going to mess with Miss So-and-so over here. I'm not going to cheat on my wife. But that subconscious part says, yeah, you are. yeah, you're going to eat that chocolate cake. Yeah, I know you say you're going to work out, but we're going to stay in bed today.
Well, that's
the subconscious part is the most powerful part of your being.
Because it's the sum total of everything you've ever experienced. Exactly. And that's something that, in another realm, I actually started to make an audio about that. The subconscious is the most effective part because it's really the largest part. It's huge.
Exactly.
Because it is the sum total of all of your experiences, both good and bad, both positive and negative, both uplifting and demeaning. All of those things, they're all stored. There's like this humongous database. And guess what? When something happens, your subconscious kicks in right away because it's in schooling, in education, it's called prior knowledge. And whenever you read something, that's what we call making text connections. Text to self, text to world, and text to text. So as you're reading, whether it's a newspaper, fiction, nonfiction, as you're reading the words, your mind is automatically recalling, what do I already know about that? Exactly. What have I already heard about that? Have I seen this someplace before? That's where it's pulled. And so we call it activating prior knowledge. And that's why anytime that you are evaluated as a teacher in the classroom, your evaluator is looking for, when you start teaching a lesson, one of the first things that they're looking for is activating prior knowledge.
Okay.
Does the teacher pull out what the students already know about the subject so that they can make a connection to and absorb the new material? Okay. So it's just like, so we're talking about the subconscious with that.
Exactly.
And, if you get ready to work out, for instance, I'm going to lose weight and, I'm 50 pounds overweight and I know I could do this. What automatically happens is the tape starts to play. So if you have been told, or if you've had the idea that you're just so fat, if you ask somebody telling you just fat, you ain't gonna never lose no weight. You look like the Stay Puft Marshall man. All the negative things, you can be cut off before you even start by what is in your subconscious. If you cannot figure out a system, or if you don't figure out a way to shut that down, it will zap all of your energy and it will destroy you before you even get started. And so that's why it's so important for you to have that under control so that you can, and it's not that the thoughts won't still come up, but you have to find a way to take it, snatch it, and immediately replace it with something that is edifying and uplifting.
Exactly.
So that you can put some gas in your tank and keep going. Because what people need to understand, and these are the things that sometimes I can't really say that people don't want to talk about it, but sometimes people are not aware of, we'll put it like that, is that this society, through advertising, whether it's television, radio, things you see on the internet, they're constantly giving you subliminal images.
Right.
to go into your subconscious to make you do what it is that they want you to do. So
Exactly.
you think McDonald's wants you losing weight? Probably not. Pizza Hut, you think they want you losing weight?
Exactly.
Probably not. Just like if you have an abusive husband, you think he wants you to lose weight so that you can look nice and have, self-esteem again and have your high self-confidence? No. So he's going to keep putting garbage into your self-esteem. Don't
That's
nobody
right.
want you. You ain't nothing. You ain't had no daddy. Didn't nobody want you. Your mama didn't. I mean, the most horrible things you can think of, because that's how he will control you and keep. Because if you want to control a person, just control their minds.
Exactly.
You don't have to physically, just like slavery, you don't have to physically restrain anybody.
Exactly.
But you can control their minds, and then they're like robots and they're going to do whatever you want them to do. So as a motivator, I would teach people, I would make people aware of the power of the subconscious, and then I would teach them strategies on how to shut down those negative messages when they do come up, so that they can proceed and do the things that they want to do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so now we're going to get even a little bit deeper into the subconscious, because she just interjected some ideas that I really didn't want our listeners to forget about. Is knowing now that it's all about the subconscious, and controlling the subconscious is really what is most important when making life decisions and motivating yourself to do whatever it is you want to do in life. Lose weight, make more money, become the better you that you can be. What then will happen if someone else is controlling your subconscious? So she brought up something that I really wanted our listeners to understand. Before we can even talk about you motivating yourself, you really do have to do a little research into the subconscious. Someone else is already tapping into it. So I know you think you're making the decisions to go and eat that burger, but there's a reason why billions of dollars are spent every single year for advertising. Why? They found out they can control how you make decisions. Mm-hmm. So we have to combat that. So by understanding how the subconscious works, number one, you may have to turn off that television. Turn off those advertisements, because that's what's controlling you.
And that's why I don't watch TV a lot.
Exactly. Also, you have to put in front of your own face and your children's face, things that are healthy. The more healthy choices that you can see in your own household and keeping it with you in your car, you are going to make those healthy choices. The better you know, the more you know, the better you do. We make choices depending on the quality of information that we have, which is why we do these podcasts. I have to keep doing podcasts like this just even to help myself. I have to keep interviewing people like Ms. Butler here, because it keeps me thinking about health. It keeps me thinking about wealth. It keeps me thinking about wellness. I've been studying this stuff for years, and I've taught many clients. Then life happens. I fall back myself. I get back into eating the standard American diet. I get back into the just over broke, I need a job, type of thing myself. And everything goes down. The houses disappear. The better type of cars disappear. You know what I'm saying? Everything in your, even in your marriage. I'm divorced now. You know what I'm saying? I have to travel to go see my children. A lot of those things will happen to you when you let life happen to you and you don't happen to life. Which is why, once again, we're talking about motivation. It's one thing to say you want to make changes, but I want to stick with the science of how to do it correctly. And the first thing that I want to leave you with is to make sure that there's something that you can do right now today. I don't want this to be just another one of the millions of podcasts, seminars, lectures that you can go to, and you just go back to life, and life just happens, but you don't make any concrete changes. So right now, I will go back to Ms. Butler. What things do you want our listeners to do today to help them to motivate themselves for making more money, having better relationships, and getting in shape?
Well, I think that I really believe that there are just some kind of general blanket things that you can do. I mean, I myself am not rich by any means. I'm a teacher. So I do what I do for the love of the game, so to speak. But there are some general things that I know that one can do in terms of motivation. And the one thing that you have to do is be very clear about what your goals are, and not general goals. It's one thing to say, I want to be financially free. That's kind of general. But what exactly does that look like? You want to have your house paid off by a certain date? Do you want to have your credit cards paid off by a certain date? Do you want to have 6 months of an emergency fund in your savings account? Exactly what does that look like? Be very clear. How much weight do you want to lose, and by when, and how do you plan to do it? So it needs to be a very clear-cut plan and very specific goals, so that you're just not kind of reaching out there, because if you don't do that, then you can't set a particular plan. You can't set, you're trying to set your GPS, but you don't put in a destination. How is your GPS supposed to know where to lead you to if you don't have a specific destination? So that's the first thing. Secondly, as I said before, if it is apropos to the situation, grab an accountability partner or a group. If you know people who have like-minded goals, then you guys get together and hold each other accountable, uplift one another, edify one another as you go through the process, hold each other accountable. So that community thing is huge, is a very huge thing. And then thirdly, do something every single day so that your motivation stays fresh, and so that it stays high. Have a checklist. This is what I did today to move myself toward my goal. I didn't drink Starbucks today. That was $5 or $7, and I took that $7 and I put it in a savings account, or I put it in a jar. That sort of thing. Something concrete and tangible. Even if it's, as I said before, making a phone call. Anything that you do that moves you toward the goal, but it really should be something, at least one thing, no matter how large or small, that you do every day to remind you of your goal. And then fourthly, last but not least, and definitely not least, guard your subconscious. Make sure that you stay positive and that you keep positive things going into your mind and into your spirit at all times. Just vow and make a promise to yourself and to those to whom you are accountable that you will not allow negativity to come from yourself or from others, because it is very, very powerful. We already have to fight against those things coming from the outside, coming from society, coming from advertisements, coming from other people. Just kind of do your best to make sure that you do not allow your spirit to be poisoned and distracted away from your goal by negative things going into your subconscious.
Very good. And I would like to add, what I want you to do today, right after listening to this podcast, I'm going to give you 3 things to do. One for your health, one for making more money, and another one for just having better relationships. First, for the health. Whatever your weight is right now, divide it in half. That's how many ounces of water that you're supposed to drink every single day. Don't drink it all at once, but carry it with you. Like right now, I'm around 260, so a gallon of water is what I carry with me. And I'm not talking about tap water. Do not open up your tap and pour some water in a bottle. And don't get you some spring water. Let's start off with some spring water. Drink that every single day to get started. Subsequent podcasts are going to get a lot deeper into health, and you're going to see exactly why I'm saying that. But for right now, that's something you can do today, and you will see results within a week. Just that quick. I'm not asking you to be a vegan all at once, but this is something you can jump right into right now. Making sure you drink water. Don't tell me that you wear this water in the soda, there's water in the Kool-Aid I'm drinking. Mm-hmm. Get you some spring water right now. Divide your weight in half, and that's how much water you should start drinking today. If this is the nighttime, get it ready for yourself so you can start it tomorrow and carry it with you all day long. I understand if you work somewhere you can't go to the bathroom a lot. Keep that water with you. Sip on it all day long, and you're going to have to make those trips to the bathroom. Your body will regulate itself over time where you're not going every 5 minutes. Number 2, for the motivation for making more money, Google home businesses and see what comes up. Read something today. If it's nighttime, you're about to go to sleep, start it tomorrow. But before you go to sleep, if you can get on your phone right now and Google home-based businesses. Go to top home-based businesses and just do some reading. I'm not telling you to jump into anything, but you have to start reading or at least listening to many different podcasts. And there's one podcast in particular called Entrepreneur on Fire. Go to that and start listening right now. That is the #1 entrepreneur podcast. And that's some of the information that you're going to get, because in a little bit, I'm going to set up a community of listeners where we all are going to be our own mastermind class. I'm going to head it, but all of us are going to add to it. And it's going to be the #1 business and health and wellness podcast that you've ever been a part of. So keep those things in mind. Also, ask me whatever questions that you would like to see, us to cover. And also, just for the motivation for better relationships, I want you to think about everyone in your circle, friends, family, spouse, children, and everything, and think about how you can better your relationships. If you have something negative to say, don't say it. I don't care what it is. Now, if it's something that's affecting you in a certain way, come up with a better method by which you can say it to your friends and family members. That's something that you can do right now. This is not something that is going to take years. It's going to take months. You don't have to pay out any money. These are things that I want you to do right now. So go do the water. Divide your weight in half. That's how many ounces of water you need to start drinking every day from this point on. Also, number 2, for making better money in whatever industry you're in. If you got that job that you can't stand, you need to start working on what can I do along with this job to start making extra money. Then after a while, we will help you to have an exit plan to where you can transition right into just doing just that. At least to where you can make the same amount you're making now from a job that you hate. Find out what it is you love to do that you do right now without getting paid, and write that down. And then we'll talk about it. Then I want you to email me at Lorenzo McCoy, LORENZO McCoy, MCCOY. The number's 360 at yahoo.com. And post any questions you may have. Questions, complaints, how can we do this better? What things you would like to see us cover? And also, speak only positive energy into your relationships. Don't be nagging to your husband. Don't nag your wife. And don't downgrade your children, comparing them to other children. Always think about, even if there is a problem, the most positive way to address that problem. And with that, is there anything else you want to add, Ms. Butler? Peace. See you guys later. Later. Checking out another podcast. Share with your friends. And yeah, if there's anything you like, leave me some comments. Anything you don't like, leave me some comments. And share. Tell everybody about it. Also, you can hit me up through my email, Lorenzo McCoy, LORENZO MCCOY 360 at yahoo.com. Hit me up on my Facebook page, Lorenzo McCoy, or El Dragon 13, Larry B. McCoy Jr. You'll find me either one of those ways. Hit me up. Keep coming through. See you soon.